Welcome back to the channel once again. Of course, as you can see from the title, we are going to be talking about the Big Six summer transfer targets. There's so many rumors flying around, and I guess with less football on, people are dying to see things happen. Of course, subscribe to the channel if you're new, drop a like. There's literally streams going out nearly every single day. We'll come to the chat during the video, and we are joined by some guests as well today. We're going to kick off with Chelsea because I know this man talks a lot about transfers at the moment. If you follow him on Twitter, he's really on a certain particular transfer, so I'll add him to the conversation. It's my good friend Frank Khalid. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you, Rambo. How are you doing? You okay?
I'm very good, thank you. I'm very good. We were talking before we hopped on about Jadon Sancho. I mentioned the name, and I could see you smirking. So I'll let you start there. Who are you most excited for in terms of Chelsea and who they've been linked to?
We've been linked to quite a few players, but obviously Jadon is one of them, and I'm very excited about him. Not really sure if we're going to get him. I mean, at the moment, there's two teams that are going in for him, and that's obviously Man United and Chelsea. Hopefully, we'll just see what happens as time goes along. I think Champions League football is very important, so it really depends on what happens with the end of the season. The other players we've been linked to, Jadon obviously isn't someone that we can get. There's rumors of Philippe Coutinho, possibly him coming on loan or maybe buy him outright. Left back Alex Telles has been linked to us, as is Ben Chilwell. Obviously, he's been linked with us, but obviously I think the price is a little bit high on him. The other players that have been linked to us, we've got a central defender named Gabriel Magalhaes, who is a Lille central defender. So he's been linked with us. Goalkeepers as well, Nick Pope, linked with us. Obviously, strikers. You've got, obviously, you mentioned Dembele. Recently, Icardi's been mentioned. And obviously, Timo Werner, who's obviously linked with Liverpool as well. So there's a lot of players that link with us now, obviously, but which ones are the ones that I would like?
Well, that was my question, because you mentioned Coutinho, and I know Raj he mentioned just before we kicked off. So, Raj, I'll let you take over what you think about the Coutinho whole deal.
Yeah, Coutinho, he's obviously a top player. I think people have got unduly influenced by his time at Bayern and Barca. I think that's quite unfair, really. He hasn't had the regular run in the team that he did have at Liverpool, and that's where he showed his quality. But I think with Chelsea, I don't know if you agree with me, Frank, you've got quite a few similar profile players in your squad. You've got Mason Mount in the squad, who's similar. He'd like to get in between the lines and create. You've got Christian Pulisic, who'll drift inside off the wing. And then you've also got Hakim Ziyech coming in. He's been playing on the right, but he doesn't hug the touchline. He comes inside off the right-hand side. And then you're losing Willian. You're losing Pedro potentially in the summer. Does it make more sense to get a natural winger, really, rather than someone like Phil Coutinho?
No, I agree with what you're saying there, but I think these days you want your players to be playing in, a lot of the positions. I mean, to have one specialist winger here and there, it doesn't quite work like that. If you look at Liverpool, for example, I mean, they've got players that can move around, change the system whenever they want. You want players to be more flexible than anything. And there's not many wingers out there, the quality of someone like, for example, Jadon Sancho, Phil Coutinho. You've got to look at the quality. I think we've got a lot of good youngsters. We've got Billy Gilmore coming up, obviously. You've got Mason Mounts and Callum Hudson-Odoi and all these players that are doing really well. But I think we need that bit of class. And I think Jadon Sancho is definitely class. And Phil Coutinho, we know when he was playing for Liverpool, he was really class. He was a classy player. And, if we don't get Jadon, then I think Phil Coutinho would be perfect. I can't really think of many other players that are out there that we could get that will make, us better than what we've got already.
Yeah, you're right. There's not a ton of wingers on the market, really. One I think of, I think I've heard Bayern are kind of looking at saying Kingsley Coman. The problem with him is his injury problems. So it's about finding that reliability as well as the quality. Rambo, I don't know if you had any thoughts on any wingers out there.
Well, I was actually going to touch on an interesting thing you mentioned about Coutinho. Of course, he's played in the Premier League, so there is that added incentive and the added almost guarantee he's going to be good. But I have read in a lot of places, and I want to say this is just my opinion, nobody else's. There's rumours that Kante might have to go to Barcelona. Now, that is a really strange substitute to me. But if that was offered to you, is that something that you as a Chelsea fan would say, this is probably a good deal for us?
I wouldn't agree with that. I wouldn't sell him. I'll be honest with you, because world-class players, there's not many of them around at the moment. And I think when we had Eden Hazard, we sold him. And if we let N'Golo go, then I think it's going to leave, the experience. He's got experience. He's obviously a world-class player. I personally wouldn't let him go, I'll be honest with you. I know he's had an indifferent season this season, but I don't think he's playing his right position. I think you put him in the right position, and then he makes a huge difference to the team. We've been leaking goals, and the reason why he's been playing where he's been playing is just to obviously we've been trying to work around Jorginho, who's been playing really well. But if you put N'Golo in the right position, then I think he's a different player altogether. I wouldn't sell him.
So obviously Jadon is the one. I've seen you get a lot of stick from United fans, so we're going to have a United fan on. We're going to have a United fan on later on, who I'm sure is going to chat in depth about Jadon Sancho. But if you do get Sancho, as you mentioned, you want that bit of quality, or if you do get a Coutinho, what are you going to do with Callum Hudson-Odoi, who plays a similar position? Obviously, William's been rumoured to go. Pedro's been rumoured to go. You've then also got Christian Pulisic, who's been injured, but he's still a 50 plus £1 million signing. What happens then? Does Sancho go straight into the first team and you all of a sudden Cho doesn't get any more game time?
That's a good question. I think it's always good to have quality, on the bench as well. You rotate it a little bit, especially, there's winger-wise, it's good to have 4 wingers, isn't it? Obviously, it's good to have it. Midfield-wise, we're sport for choices. We've obviously got Loftus-Cheek. We've got Billy Gilmour who just come up as well, Ross Barkley. And we've got obviously Hakim Ziyech as well. We can also play wing as well. He can also be a winger as well. You're right. How do we play all of them? But the thing is, I do think Jadon Sancho is in that team straight away. I think Callum Hudson-Odoi, he's one for the future, but I don't think he's quite hit the levels that we want him to hit. So I think it's going to take a bit of time by the time he reaches his peak. So, you want a bit of competition for the places, don't you, really?
Yeah, I think, and then the other area you mentioned, I know Raj was about to leap onto this because I'm talking about attackers, but you've also mentioned goalkeepers, and Willy Caballero came in towards the end of the season, which still hasn't quite ended, because of Kepa's on and off form. Is Nick Pope someone that you'd be looking at if the price was right? Because then you've got an 80, 90 million pound goalkeeper who potentially won't be playing.
Me personally, I wouldn't change anything at the moment. I'll keep Kepa. I know he's had an indifferent season, but to be honest with you, I don't think he's made many mistakes. I think it's the defence that's letting us down. And that's why I'm saying that a new left back, a new central defender will make a bit of difference there. And also, not playing N'Golo in his right position, relying on Jorginho at the back isn't the best, the best of things. So I personally leave the keeper the same. The last 2 games that we played, he had a good game against Liverpool in the FA Cup, and he did all right against Everton as well. So I don't think his form's been too bad, actually.
I agree as well, but I think from an economic point of view, it'd be terrible as well, because obviously you spent all that money on him. His resale value is not going to be too high at the moment. So I don't think it's the right timing to sell Kepa right now. You need to build him back up. Maybe eventually you do let him go, but I think you're right. I think I'd give him more time. He's a young keeper, and you need to give him time. And I think also the key is he's a good fit for Lampard's philosophy. You can pass it out from the back. You're not going to find keepers everywhere who can do that, to be honest. The only one I would really think of is probably Onana from Ajax. He fits that style well. But again, as I said, you're going to have to spend a lot of money on that and then lose money on Kepa. So yeah, I agree. I'd keep Kepa for now.
Yeah, just before we let you go, Frank, because I know you're at work, and last time I hailed you for a very long time, Glitch, I'm sure Glitch is not his real name, has asked a question. Frank, will Sancho come to Chelsea?
Okay, the reason why I think he's asking that is I was very fortunate enough to bump into Jadon's dad a few months ago. He actually is a South London boy, which is not too far away from where my work is. And I did start speaking to Jadon's dad, and obviously he wasn't going to tell me what's in his son's mind. But from what we spoke about, obviously Chelsea is his favourite club, but I think it will be down to money. End of the day, if Man United are prepared to pay the money and the salary, then I think it goes to them. But it just depends on a lot of things. Money is one of it. Champions League football is another, and this is why it's really important for Man United that they need to be in the Champions League. Because if they don't have that, then Jadon might look towards Chelsea. But I don't know. When I speak to his dad, as I said, he was sort of saying he would like to come to Chelsea. If he had a choice and both the deals were the same and Chelsea were offering the same money as what Man United were offering, what he indicated to me was he would come to Chelsea. That's what he said to me. But we know Man United are like. They're prepared to pay crazy money for their players and crazy wages. And you just don't know really, do you? But Man United linked with so many players. That's the problem, isn't it, really? They're also linked with Harry Kane, I was reading this morning. You know what I mean? How many players could they possibly buy?
Raul Jimenez as well, I saw in the media as well. I think the other thing that goes in you guys' favour is Frank Lampard, how he promotes youth quite well. I think that's the other thing. You see him with Sakai Tomori early on in the season, seen with Cammy throughout the season, and Hudson-Odoi also had some opportunities, and Mount obviously. So I think that should play into your favour as well. I think isn't Jadon Sancho quite good mates with Callum Hudson-Odoi as well? That could be another factor.
He's actually mates with most of the Chelsea players, and also Man United. To be fair, he's mates with them as well. So I don't think you can go by that. The only thing you can go by is the fact that he is a London boy, South London boy, so which is not a million miles away from us. And his dad was telling me he is a big Chelsea fan. He was telling me a story about him going to the Chelsea training ground and taking a picture of Good Johnson. So, and he has said several times that Frank Lampard is someone he looks up to as well. So, I mean, to be honest, you don't really know what's in a player's mind. And the other thing as well, it wouldn't surprise me if he hasn't made his mind up. I think the next few weeks, or it just depends what happens at the outcome of the Premier League season, to be honest with you. Yeah. And I think if Man United do get in Champions League, then I think they've got a great chance of getting him. But if they don't, then I think we're waiting in the background there to make sure we'll get him.
All right, love that, Frank. Thank you very much. As I said, you can head back to work. Thank you for still keeping the grind on and being so important for everyone. Stay safe, obviously, and hopefully for you and a lot of the Chelsea fans in the comments, Sancho ends up at Chelsea. And I'll speak to you very soon. Thank you, mate.
Thank you, mate. Thank you, Dad. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, so bit of inside, maybe some potential inside knowledge on Sancho to Chelsea. I'm just going to quickly hop to the comments before we hop to a discussion about Liverpool. Olaifa, hopefully I've said your name right there, says, what do you guys think about Coutinho to Chelsea? So Raj, you were mentioning and you had a strong opinion on this.
Yeah, I don't think Coutinho necessarily fits into the profile of what Chelsea need, to be honest. I think with Willian and Pedro potentially both leaving in the summer, I think they need someone of more of a natural wide man. I think Coutinho, he already is similar style to Mason Mount, Ziyech, and Pulisic. They're all wide players who like to come inside, and Coutinho is a similar mould of player. In terms of the quality of Coutinho, I don't think that's to be questioned at all. I think in that half season before he left Liverpool, he showed he'd reached a world-class level. And I just think he hasn't had the opportunity since to have regular runs in the team at Barcelona and Bayern. And obviously the managerial people he's had in charge of him haven't really been the best. Ernesto Valverde restricts attacking players. It's not a coincidence that Coutinho, Dembele and Griezmann have all kind of flopped, so to speak. That's no coincidence for me. And then at Bayern, there's a big competition going on at Bayern. I don't really blame him too much for not actually getting too many chances there, because their squad is full of attacking talent. But yeah, I don't. What do you think? Do you think?
I think what we spoke about, I can actually see it happening only because, from a Coutinho perspective, I don't know where else he can go, because obviously because he's played for Liverpool, he's previously said he will not play for Manchester United. And I don't know if Manchester United are interested. I don't think he's a Pep Guardiola player, so I don't think he goes to Man City. Arsenal don't have their funds, so the only two places really are Spurs and Chelsea. And so I'm kind of looking at it and I'm going, well, Spurs probably won't be interested in him. And currently I don't know what's going on at Spurs, and we will talk about that later on. So the only actual destination, I think, if he comes to the Premier League and he keeps saying he wants to come back, or we keep hearing he wants to come back, is Chelsea. So for that reason alone, I think there could be potential legs in that move. But I think this is one of those transfers. I mean, I'm still hearing Coutinho to Liverpool. So I think this transfer rumour will continue for a very long time.
But I think the problem with it as well is Barca want a very high price for him. So that's why I think you're right. It might go right all the way down to the end of the deadline, wherever that deadline's going to be. We don't have a clue, do we, at the moment? But I think it could be one of those. You're right. It could be strung out right to the end. And you know what I could see as well? Another loan, possibly, because no one actually stumps up the cash for him.
Yeah, it's a weird standpoint from Barcelona, I think, to say like we want the money, because it doesn't feel, especially because of the way they've treated him, it feels as though they're saying you're not good enough for Barcelona, yet we still want a deal worth the cash that we bought you for. So it's a bit of a strange one. Rajan has said in the comments, Coutinho and Ziyech will be very dangerous. I do agree. But then where does that leave Callum Hudson-Odoi, who's so highly rated, and Bayern wanting him for 50 million, and Christian Pulisic, who they've paid 50 million for. So, all right. I think we can go on and on about Chelsea. We'll move over to Liverpool.